Christmas should be about Santa, gifts, and lots of food. Oh, sorry, it's not Christmas. I'm supposed to talk about Easter. Sorry. Okay. Easter should be about the Easter bunny, Easter eggs, Easter chocolate. Is that right? No, a big no. Neither Christmas nor Easter should be about the things I mentioned. If you haven't watched my Advent and Christmas series, you already know my opinion about Christmas. If you haven't, you can still do it. I will drop the links in the description and the comment section. But since millions are celebrating Easter, let's talk about this holiday now. If we haven't met before, my name's Magdalena. I'm a passionate English teacher, and I love helping English learners on their language learning journey, not just by teaching them English, but also by encouraging them, inspiring them, motivating them, helping them overcome their fears, cheering for them, and reminding them how amazing and brave they are. So thanks for being with me here today. Before we dive deeper into the topic of this holiday, which it turns out should not be about the Easter bunny and Easter eggs, let me share a nice idiom with you that has a kind of spring and Easter vibe, and that you can use in your everyday life, even to encourage others. Are you ready? It's the idiom, bloom where you are planted. Bloom where you are planted. Listen to the following sentence. Imagine the situation and try to guess the meaning of this idiom from the context. This will help you start thinking in English. Are you ready? John was satisfied with his situation. He bloomed where he was planted. Bloom where you are planted. This idiom encourages people to make the best of their current situation, no matter where they are. It's a great reminder to be grateful for the little things in everyday life. Even if things aren't perfect, we can still grow and flourish. It means to make the best of whatever situation you may find yourself in. The small phrase, bloom where you are planted, can hold so much meaning. There are many things in life that we cannot choose, such as the life we are born into. We can't choose our family, whether we are born into wealth or poverty, or certain situations we are placed in. We don't get to choose where we are planted, but we do get to choose to bloom. We have the choice to grow and make a difference. It is our choice to make the most of what we have in this life and to take steps toward where we want to be. We have a choice to make a change. Where you were planted does not decide how you must bloom. No matter where you were planted, you can still bloom into something special. Do not let where you were planted define you or stop you from blooming. Someone once said, if a rose grows in the desert, it's up to the rose to make the very best of the situation in order to survive. What do you think? Do you agree? So bloom where you are planted. Okay, since Christmas should not primarily be about Santa and gifts, but about the birth of Jesus, the King of Kings and the promised Savior, likewise Easter should not be about the Easter bunny and Easter eggs, but about the resurrection of Jesus. So let's talk about the word resurrection a little in English. Resurrection is a noun. To resurrect is a verb. It means to bring something or someone back to life. You can resurrect someone's hope, an old custom, a practice, or someone's career, meaning to bring back something that stopped being used. You can resurrect your old bike that you haven't used for years. In the movie Jurassic Park, they used DNA to resurrect dinosaurs from the ancient past. For example, my plants have all wilted. Let's see whether I can resurrect them. The opposite is to fall into decay. Resurrection is the act of bringing back something that disappeared or ended in the past, or bringing something back into existence. There is even a plant called the resurrection plant. It is a marvel of nature that can survive extreme dehydration for years by curling into a dry brown ball and then resurrect itself, turning green again when exposed to water. Okay, now that you know the words resurrection and to resurrect, let me share 3 stories with you. Are you ready? The first story took place on Easter Sunday, March 26, 1967. On that day, a young U.S. Marine named Douglas Dickey was fighting in Vietnam near the border between North and South Vietnam. A Marine is a soldier who works closely with the Navy and is trained especially for military operations on land that begin from the sea. During a very dangerous battle, enemy soldiers threw grenades toward the group of Marines. A grenade is a small bomb thrown by hand. Douglas Dickey, who was only 20 years old, understood that the grenades would soon explode. He also knew that if nothing was done, several of his fellow soldiers would die. So he made a brave decision. He jumped onto the grenades and covered them with his body. The grenades exploded, and Douglas Dickey died. But his action saved the lives of 5 other Marines in his group. Because of this brave and selfless act, he received the Medal of Honor, the highest military award in the United States. The award was given posthumously, that is, after his death. The second story took place in 2006 when a U.S. Navy SEAL, Michael Mansour, was fighting in Iraq with 2 teammates on a rooftop. During the battle, an enemy soldier threw a grenade onto the roof. Mansour had only a second to decide what to do. He could jump away and save himself, but his 2 teammates would die. Instead, he jumped onto the grenade to protect his friends. The explosion killed him, but his teammates survived. Because of his bravery and sacrifice, Michael Mansour later received the Medal of Honor, also posthumously. In many places, even a Navy ship, were named after him. One of the survivors at Mansour's funeral said, "Mikey looked death in the face that day and said, 'You will not take my friends. I will go in their place.'" Douglas Dickey and Michael Mansour literally sacrificed themselves to save their friends. There is no greater love than to sacrifice yourself to save your friends, said Jesus of Nazareth before he went to the cross. These young men sacrificed themselves to save their friends. The question is, would anyone sacrifice himself to save you? And the answer is yes, someone already has. His name is Jesus, Jesus of Nazareth. But in today's culture, a lot of people don't think this story is true. They think it was invented. And yes, it includes miracles, like the resurrection. How can you believe in something like that? We don't see miracles anymore. Or maybe we do? Well, the purpose of today's video is not to prove that God exists, that Jesus is God in the flesh, that He is the only way, the truth, and the life, and that the resurrection story is true. People in the past, and still today, have written thousands of pages presenting evidence for truth, for the existence of God, and for the truth of the New Testament. The story of Jesus, his birth, life, death, and resurrection. So I'm not going to do that now. But I do want to remind you of the true meaning of Easter. Yes, someone has sacrificed himself for you too, and that someone is Jesus. And this is my third story. You might be asking, I understand why Douglas Dickey and Michael Monsoor sacrificed themselves for their friends. Their lives were in danger. But what about me? Why did Jesus have to die for me? What did he save me from? I'm okay, right? Well, believe it or not, there is absolute truth, and it exists outside of us. And no matter what you believe about God, truth is still truth. Just by living our everyday lives, we can see that things are not okay in this world. Humanity is broken. There is suffering, pain, ugliness, addiction, confusion, calling truth a lie, and right wrong. Let's say it honestly. You and I and the whole world are drowning in sin, and we need a Savior. We cannot save ourselves. The Easter Bunny cannot save us. Religion cannot save us. Being a good person cannot save us. We need someone to jump onto those grenades of sin and cover them with his body. And this is exactly what Jesus did, the only perfect one who could do it. He did it because he loved us. He loved you. But the story doesn't end there. If Jesus only died, it would already be powerful. But the story continues because Jesus rose from the dead. He resurrected, which means he's alive today. We can't go through all the evidence here. I'll put some links in the description. But let me say this. If God doesn't exist and Jesus didn't rise from the dead, Christianity is false. Let me repeat. If God doesn't exist and Jesus didn't rise from the dead, Christianity is false. Which means you can sleep in on Sunday and do whatever you want the rest of the week. But if Jesus rose from the dead, game over. Christianity is true, and every other religion is false. And Jesus is the only Savior who can save your soul from eternal death and separation from God. That is from hell. So it matters what you believe about Jesus, about his death and his resurrection, and how you respond to this truth. Because this is a game changer. Nothing is more important. Nothing. It's about your eternal destiny, your eternity, but also about how you live today, your values, your mindset, how you see yourself and others, and the legacy you leave behind. Just as Navy SEALs place their golden tridents into the coffin of a fallen teammate, giving their identity to the one who sacrificed for them, those who follow Jesus place their identity in him, their King and Savior. Who or what do you place your identity in? Where does your identity come from? My identity comes from what Jesus has done for me. You don't achieve your identity, you receive it. It's a free gift that he paid a huge price for. Never think that you're not valuable because someone gave his life for you so that you can have a new identity, your true identity, the one you were born to have. And he proved it by rising from the dead. This is the true story of Easter. Now, if you got to the end of this video, I suppose something resonated with you, something stirred in you. I'm not asking you to give me a thumbs up, but I do ask you to make a decision about this story. You can't be neutral. You have to decide whether you think Jesus was a lunatic, crazy, mentally ill, or a liar, or whether he was really who he said he was. That is God, the promised Savior, the Jewish Messiah. Because if he's truly God in the flesh, then believing or not believing in him, in what he did on the cross, is about life or death. It's about your eternal destiny. This is what God is saying to you today. If you confess with your mouth Jesus as Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. Romans 10:9. So do not procrastinate. Do not put off this most important decision. And if you have made your decision for him, who sacrificed his life for you, or if you have any questions, write them in the comments or send me an email. But choose life today.